Okay, now on to the additional metal cards. These are interesting. There are a lot of different effects and different weird cards with these. So we have seen Miyu before. This is the one that forces your rival to discard when it defends. Pretty good. The black variant, Miyu, when Miyu attacks, it gains hiding until the next turn ends, so it's going to protect itself for one turn. So if you're hurting for levels, hopefully your rival will be able to capture it until you can block it in with some more Karumon. It's only one level, but still pretty useful to hide for a turn. There's also a golden Miyu. When Miyu enters the arena, draw a card. Operates just like Mika, just a different type and a different power-up. Now this could possibly be the strongest card in the game, maybe? Could be the strongest card. It's certainly the strongest metal card, I believe, but this is one of the Pixel Elites. This is Pixel Elite Miyu. Can attack in any direction, +5 levels, 10 power. Miyu can't be captured as the result of a brawl. That is just nuts. There is not... In this first set, there are very few effects that allow you to capture without brawling. So the only ones that can do it are Tatsuko, the one that I showed you that captures attackers, but there's only one copy, and the Metal Sadaloon, which I'm about to show you, that has you play rock, paper, scissors instead of brawling. So it's an elite, and for good reason too, but this is just a must-have in any kind of constructed deck. This is crazy. Now, upgrade Miyu. Kind of a strange effect. When it enters the arena, all hiding Karumon lose hiding and lose 3 power, so it's going to absolutely decimate your rival's shadow deck, but that may be a little bit harder than it seems, harder to telegraph. But that said, a 12 power Karumon that can brawl in any direction is still a strong fighter. Griva is a train with a face. When Griva enters the arena, it gains hiding until next turn ends, operates just like the Black Miyu variant, but it's a much stronger train-shaped package. Okay, so I showed you the Shadow Sadaloon before. This is the Metal Sadaloon. This is one variant of the Metal Sadaloon. During each brawl, play rock, paper, scissors instead of comparing power. The winner captures their rival's attacking or defending Karumon. This is super high risk, high reward, obviously. If you are behind on levels and you think you're about to lose, go ahead and plop this one down, watch your rival squirm, because it's all up to chance now. And the last Sadaloon variant, when any Karumon enters the arena, flip it into the air. If it lands face down, it gains crying. Pretty self-explanatory, nothing too crazy here. We've got 2 copies of Kokutan. This is just like some of the other Karumon you've seen that do things depending on having Karumon already on your team that share a type. So when Kokutan defends, choose a Karumon on your rival's team. That Karumon loses 2 power as long as there is at least one other metal type Karumon on your team. Pretty useful if you're running quite a few metal cards. We've already seen cute Lil Sheepy, Electric Sheep Seiteki, but you can meet his papa. Upgrade Seiteki. When another Karumon on your team defends, the attacker loses 2 power unless your rival discards a card. If you can manage to force a couple discards by playing with power loss and power gain, go ahead and lose 2 power, or go ahead and discard and keep your guy from losing 2 power. Oops, I played Tiger Acorn and now you got to do it again later on. So yeah, pretty awesome. All right, 2 types left, and then we are on to bonus cards. So we are going to cover Fire. This first Kyuzo, when it enters the arena, flip it into the air. If it lands face up, Kyuzo gains floating. So this operates just like the other physical, flip in the air cards. But this one is different because it can only gain from the result instead of potentially suffering. So nice to have. This Kyuzo is cute, a little bit underwhelming though. When Kyuzo defends, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, your attacker loses 1 power. Not too terrible if you had something like the upgrade Mika that's always going to let you refill back to 5 cards in your hand anyways, but to continuously discard for every time that it defends, maybe. It's a little bit easier to stomach if your rival captures it and then you have to attack and make them discard, but a little bit situational, that one. Pixel Elite Kyuzo. I love that artwork too, that is so cool. When Kyuzo attacks, you may choose a starter Karumon from your discards and play it to any empty space in the arena. This is just an amazing way to set up your team for an upgrade on your next turn. You just got to make sure that whatever you decide to play off of its effect is protected, but still very good. This upgrade Kyuzo is kind of like a delayed Pixel Miyu, how Pixel Miyu's indestructible because of a brawl. This is just any time that Kyuzo is captured, return it to its owner's team when the next turn ends. Just make sure that you don't let it get captured on the last turn. If you have this captured on any time before the actual round ends, it'll always come back to you. Just make sure that you are keeping track of time. Jinra, little genie legend. When Jinra enters the arena, flip it into the air 3 times. Each time it lands face up, draw a card. When each of your own turns starts, you lose 1 level. So if you play it early, it's going to make you bleed levels for longer, but if you play it later on in the round, you can potentially draw enough cards to help push you ahead of your rival. So that's a little bit risky. Still a nice card for +3 levels though. We saw Jakku previously. This is the upgrade. Players can't use bonus cards while Jakku is in the arena. This also counts for yourself. So this is a little bit risky. It just kind of depends on how your deck is built and what's already in your discards. Starter Koshi. When Koshi defends, the attacker gains Flaming. If attacker was already Flaming, it just loses 1 power. So it's going to accelerate the Flaming effect, but this is a little bit strange in the current set because there's no way to give a Karumon Flaming at instant speed. There's no bonus cards that do it. The only way you'd be able to make use of this, of Koshi's effect, is if your rival used Tag Team, maybe, to begin attacking with a Karumon that was already played and already Flaming. So a little bit unsure about this one, but I'm sure that later on, as more effects come into the game, this will be very useful. And then we have an upgraded Koshi. That's a scary looking boy. When Koshi attacks, you may change Koshi's type to any type other than its current type. So if you have Tag Team out, you can start changing him willy-nilly every time he attacks. Just keep in mind, though, that once you change its type, that will probably be permanent. So keep track of what type you change it to, because your rival could use that to their advantage if they have a Karumon that they're about to play that's going to be powered up against the type you change it to. The last type of additional Karumon. Yay! I forgot that I haven't shown you the back of the cards yet. It's just like the box. I love that art. I love that little Mogisu. He's like popping out of a little card. That's just, I love it. I love the style. So now we are going to get into the wood additional cards. Wood. We have Nashi. If Nashi attacks in any direction, it may attack up to 1 additional monster this turn. Both attacks happen at the same time. If it does, Nashi loses 2 power until this turn ends. So, the way that the timing works on that is that you could potentially capture 2 Karumon at once, but you have to keep in mind that if you decide to attack 2 at once, it will lose 2 power before the attacks occur. So it will start at a base 5 power attack. But that said, you are more than welcome to target 2 defenders and then use a Tiger Acorn or something to bump up its power, potentially capture 2 in one go. I've seen this guy before. I'm glad we get a couple more copies of it to search starters. Love Tsumitaro, very, very good effect. What we haven't seen before is Upgrade Tsumitaro. When a Karumon is captured and added to your team, Tsumitaro gains 2 power. So an early upgrade Tsumitaro can just potentially grow to be absolutely massive. It all depends on how well you can start capturing things and taking them from your rival or recapturing Karumon that you got captured. Suzuru is a little bit of a strange one. It is perpetually floating as it defends. Evasive and annoying, just like a real bee. When Suzuru defends, treat it as if Suzuru has floating. Starter Koro, little Brussels sprout looking thing. When Koro is captured, the player who captured Koro discards a card from their hand. Nothing too extreme here. Kind of situational, depends on if it's on your rival's team and you're trying to capture it. You just gotta be careful with that one. Upgrade Koro. When your turn starts, choose up to 2 Karumon on your team. Each of those Karumon gains 1 power. It can be a nice buffing machine for your own team. Just try to keep it from getting captured. Last but not least, Kimaru. This operates as a protection from effects for any of your Karumon on your team. So as long as Kimaru is on your team, when another Karumon on your team is attacked, Karumon on your team can't gain added effects as a result of that brawl. So only effects that are going to be given as a brawl effect, kind of like when Onaki defends and gives people crying, that'll protect them from that. But other things, if there's going to be there are some bonus cards that I'll show later on that can give floating or hiding, those can still take effect. All right, round in the home stretch here. You get quite a few bonus cards to fill out your constructed stuff that you want to build. We're going to go over just the players first. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about Samurai Gosashi. Play Gosashi to an empty space. Karumon with 6 power or less can't attack or be attacked. So this protects all 6 power or less Karumon for both sides, you and your rival. You can play some big boys with high levels, using Tiger Acorn to capture one of your rival's bigger Karumon just to drop your own by 4 power at the end of the turn, and protect it with Gosashi's effect if it drops at 6 or below. This also works great with Pixel Tsuda for a guaranteed 5 levels if you have only a handful of bonus cards in your discard pile. So Yeah, pretty interesting there. Karasu isn't anything too extreme. Play Karasu to an empty space. Karumon don't get power-ups during brawls, so that's just helpful for some type issues. Yuri, when this round ends, shuffle your hand and discards into your deck. So this is great for the third round when you already have a lot of cards in your discard pile. But that said, if you know for sure that you have better cards yet to be drawn from your deck, Yuri can kind of be a bummer in your hand, taking up a potential 5th spot for a better card when you refill your hand. Neon, woo, this is a heavy hitter. When your turn starts, you may return up to 1 Karumon from your team to your hand. This has the potential to be absolutely insane. There are plenty of Karumon that have great effects just for you when they enter the arena or attack. Pixel Kyuzo plays a starter from your discard pile. Sumitaro searches a starter. Nashi attacks twice. The list goes on and on. This could potentially be the best player card in the set. Nico, nothing too extreme here. When you add a Karumon to your team, that Karumon gains 2 power until that turn ends. It just helps you get over some speed bumps against your rival's stronger Karumon as you play things from hand. Now for the bonus cards that are not players, we've got quite a few interesting ones here. Miracle Nut operates a lot like Cure All. It just chooses a Karumon that gains 1 power and loses all added effects. Ooh, wait just a minute. I think I'm discovering. Hold on a minute. Ooh! Yeah, that's a bad boy. Redo. Now the difference, the key difference that I just now discovered. Cure All, you have to choose a Karumon on your team. That Karumon loses all added effects. If you've got a tricky rival that has a lot of floating or hiding Karumon, you can choose any Karumon in the arena with a Miracle Nut. It'll still gain 1 power, sure, but you can take off floating or hiding to make sure that you can actually attack it and try to capture it. That's a good card. Miracle Nut is pretty awesome. Another interesting one is Karumon Egg. Play Karumon Egg to any empty space at instant speed. If Karumon Egg is attacked, discard it. You may play a starter Karumon on top of Karumon Egg. Do this when you could normally play a Karumon from your hand. So this can protect a space beside a valuable Karumon that you just played. If you play an upgrade that you really like to keep, and there's a couple empty spaces around it, you can try and hopefully protect it by putting a Karumon Egg down right beside it and just saving that space for later to hopefully prevent a capture from your rival. Big Yawn is a tricky one. Your rival chooses a Karumon on your team. Ignore the ability belonging to that Karumon until this turn ends. When next turn starts, choose a Karumon on your rival's team. Ignore the ability belonging to that Karumon until that turn ends. So you have to take the negative effect first, and then you get the positive, and hopefully it'll pay off. Or, a little bit of a tricky one, since you can play bonus cards at any time, if you play it right as your rival is about to end their turn, you can avoid the first negative effect and just simply jump to the second instead. The only way that that can be negative to you is if they happen to make a Karumon on your team lose an ability that occurs at the end of the turn. So still take it with a grain of salt, but you can kind of get a little bit tricky with this one. Surprise! Yeah! During this round, when a starter Karumon on a player's team defends, that player may upgrade the defender. If this is used right before your rival plays a Karumon, it can kind of serve as a cheeky bait to attack like one of your very upgradable Mogisu or Nanatus or whatever. Pretty sweet card. I like that one. Time Warp. Now this one can get a little stanky. I have seen the alpha version of Time Warp, which literally just let you take an extra turn. This has a little bit of a downside to it, but can still be mitigated. So discard your hand in order to take an extra turn after this turn ends. What have I mentioned 50 billion times before? If you have this paired with Upgrade Mika on your team, that is a huge swing play. You can start your next turn, draw back up to 5, play whatever you can, and then at the very end of your turn, play Time Warp to discard whatever you didn't use or whatever you can't use, and then use Upgrade Mika's effect to draw back up to 5 on your extra turn that Time Warp gives you. Crazy, crazy combo if you can pull that off. Helping Hand. When a Karumon on your team is attacked, you can play Helping Hand. Your rival must choose a new defender instead. Has to be a valid defender. It's still a nice combat trick card. Just keep in mind that you must have a valid target to switch to. You can't just play this and say, ooh, pick that empty spot, and now you don't get to attack. Broadcast. This is an odd one. Choose a Karumon on your team. Until this turn ends, that Karumon gains an ability belonging to a Karumon in your discards. Swap any references of the Karumon in your discards to the chosen Karumon. I can't even go into all the possibilities of this card. This will only get stronger as more cards come out with crazier abilities, so, I mean, the world's your oyster with this one. Just use your imagination. Knockout. I like this one. This is kind of like a last-ditch game extension. Choose any card in the arena and discard that card. You lose 1 level and skip your next turn. So you're only going to want to use this when you have to get rid of one of your opponent's maybe Pixel Elite cards. It's going to net them 5 levels that you just can't seem to capture. Something that is going to be a super high value target that is going to net your rival a lot of levels. This can be used to extend the round an extra turn. If your rival is running low on cards, but they're about to fill the last spot of the arena, it could potentially take a 3 or maybe 5 level card. You can knock it out and hope that on their free turn they play something less valuable. So a lot of possibilities with this one. This could be very situational, but clinch you the game in the end. Then we have Dark Blossom. Pretty simple. You just gain 1 level. That's kind of strange. I feel like I've seen this before. Maybe some kind of like dark gray flower. Something that rhymes with Shaq Brodus. I don't know. I can't remember. And then we'll just quick fire some of these more simpler ones, but still definitely worth mentioning. You want to show them? I'm trying to show every card in the set. Choose any Karumon in the arena. That Karumon loses 3 power. It's kind of like a stronger Cherry Bomb. Fire Blossom. You choose any Karumon in the arena. That Karumon loses 7 power, but at the cost of 1 of your levels. So that can really swing something in your favor. Just make sure that you're trying to use it to capture something that's going to get you more than the 1 level that you lose. Elemental Wheel. You choose a Karumon on your team, change that Karumon's type to any type. This is pretty much just to defend against a potential power-up. If your rival plays something that's going to get a power-up against one of your defenders, or you can use this to change one of your other Karumon to ground or shadow when you play one of the other cards that depends on you having a similar typed card already on your team. A couple quick and easy ones just to apply added effects. This is going to give anybody hiding until the round ends. This is going to give anybody floating until the round ends. And then this is going to let you discard a card from your hand to give one of your rival's Karumon crying. So just some quick effects there. You get 1 copy of White Radish. This is going to get you a starter Karumon from your discards back into your hand. Unfortunately, you can't choose Legend or Elite Karumon. That would be crazy if you could play one of your Pixel Elites multiple times, but still good to get if you happen to draw an upgrade that you need the starter for. Sneak Attack. This is going to affect both players. During this round, when each player starts their own turn, they may move a Karumon on their team to any empty space. So this is kind of just shaking things up a bit, letting both of you move Karumon around. Would be kind of interesting to play in the very beginning of a round, just to give you guys free reign, but also could be very beneficial to play at the end when you're hoping to move something to a spot in order to protect one of your high value cards. Pollen Trap. During this round, Karumon can't be attacked by other Karumon that share the same type. This can be super useful if you have an elemental wheel, like I just showed. You can change your type into something to prevent you from being attacked. Otherwise, kind of situational, but still useful. Challenge. We got another rock, paper, scissors. Play rock, paper, scissors with your rival. The winner gains 1 level, but then both players draw a card. So a little bit risky, but if you're behind just by 1, man, you might as well go ahead and give it a shot. Last but not least, 2 that you've already seen. You get an additional treasure hunt and additional cherry bomb. All right, well, that will just about cover it. That is all the cards in this first complete set. We went over some of the effects. You got to see all the different bonus cards and all the different really cool Karumon. I cannot wait to see what kind of additional effects we're going to run into as the game goes on. If you want to get your hands on some of these cards, go ahead and go to Karumon.com and you can place an order there, get a complete first set. You can also get a playmat there. I kind of missed my chance on the first order, but hopefully those will come back in stock soon. And you get a ton of cards. This is a very, very fun card game. I love it already. I've been trying to get my friends into it and can't wait to see what happens next. So if you got any questions or comments, leave them down below. Let me know what you guys think, and see you next time.